everyone. It's good to see David here and Garth here, and I'm glad Tommy is here. Tommy wasn't supposed to be here, but yet here he is. We're so glad, and then of course Brandon and Louisa. Hey. Okay. So, and welcome to you out there in internet land. This is Doug Wilkerson with Saturday Night Live Life Recovery. We've been just having a little meeting here before we got started, so we're getting a few minutes late. But we're not going to have any music, so because Vanessa is not here, so we're not going to have music tonight. So it's okay if I'm just a couple minutes late. Besides that, you probably didn't even realize it. So anyway, life recovery. What does life recovery mean? Life recovery means that we're trying to, all of us, trying to deal with the messiness of this life, because life is messy. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And reality is we can't recover alone. We usually try. And how's that worked out for you? So anyway, and you out there, I know you may believe that you can recover alone, but it takes a community of people that will accept you, love you, and help you to work through your struggles, because we're all fellow strugglers. Would you agree with that? So tonight we're going to be talking about a topic. Willie picked it out. He's going to be teaching the step, and Lori's going to be teaching the reflection, and that's what's that title, Willie?
Unintentional.
Unintentional
Sin.
Unintentional sin. And that's and what's the scripture reference? Leviticus
8.
Do I?
Step 8.
Oh, it is step 8. It is step 8, and it's Leviticus 4, 1 through 28. So step 8 is, I want to read step 8 if I can get up here close enough, because I made small type, and Lori's going to appreciate that. And so step 8 is, we made a list of all the persons we harmed and became willing. That's so important, right? Became willing. How willing are you? You don't have to answer that. To make amends to them all. So step 8, that's what we're going to be talking about, and unintentional sins. So here's the big question. I got extra questions tonight, or at least one. And the first one is, we're just going to ask, what does unintentional mean? Say it again, John.
You don't need it. It's something you don't mean to do, but it's like a voluntary movement of your body. It's not something you don't intend to do, but it's in your memory. You got in the past, and it's in your memory, and you've got to get rid of that memory before you stop doing what you are not supposed to do.
Okay. Good. So you're saying it's kind of in your subconscious.
Yeah.
Because 95% of all our decisions are made by our subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel? Unintentional. And somebody else said something, but I couldn't tell where it's come from, but I knew John was talking.
Accidental.
Accidental. That's good. Accidental. That's good. Oh, and by the way, I have a worksheet back there with information on it it has that very question and has that definition. Well, it has close to that definition. I think maybe John did read a little bit of it on there. Because unintentional means something that happens without being planned, meant, or done on purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. And so the next question is, because we're talking about unintentional sin, the next question is, what's the definition of sin? That's not on that sheet, by the way, I don't think.
It's a willful transgression against the known law of God.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Wow, that was neat. That was good.
Anybody else? Yes.
Usually an unintentional sin is because we didn't know it was a sin.
That's correct. That's correct. But we're just working on the definition of sin itself right now. And let me go ahead and just hit this one. And one of the best, one of the simplest definitions of sin is to miss the mark, which is an archery term, which is actually in the concordance of definition for sin. So miss the mark, that means you just flat missed the mark, okay? And that's sin. Whether it's intentional or unintentional, you just missed the mark. That's what sin is, okay? So now, let's put them together, and what does it mean, the unintentional sin? We talked about it, unintentional, we talked about sin, now we're talking about unintentional sin. What's that definition? By the way, it is on that sheet. Go ahead, Tommy.
It means breaking God's law or doing wrong without knowing it or without meaning to. It's not a deliberate act of rebellion, but it's still wrong in God's eyes.
Y'all agree with that statement? So that kind of helps us see what the definition is. And do you find it helpful that we go over these words and break them down? Is that helpful to you, or should I not inflict? I have this and I have this. I have kind of this. I have a thumb. That's better than something else.
I like it.
Just keep doing it the way you're doing it.
Do I? Keep doing it the way I'm doing it. All right, so let's bump on down and look at some other stuff. Okay, and an example of this, I have it with pink marker here in some circles. It says, speaking in a way that's hurtful, that hurts someone without recognizing how your words were wrong. So speaking to people that hurts them. And sometimes we say, well, if they get their feelings hurt, that's their problem, which that's not necessarily all untrue. But the fact of it is, we need to gauge our communication with others, because if you're doing it, whether it's intentional or unintentional, it would. Anytime you, and we'll talk about unintentional mistakes or sin in a little bit, but when actually the principle is, if we hurt others, it affects you in the long run. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the lesson of tonight, you know. And so and that's what step 8 is talking about, is that we're trying to become aware of what wrongs we've done and make a list and get ready, get prepared to be able to try to clean it up. And so we want it, and it's up to us to work on cleaning our life up in the sense that we change our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. Does that make sense? Any questions on that? What?
I have a thought. I was wondering, like if you said, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Oh my gosh, you're pregnant. How many months? And she goes, I'm not pregnant. That could hurt her. Is that an unintentional sin?
Well, that's, if it hurts somebody, it's a reproach upon them, which could be missing the mark of causing pain for others, right? So I guess I don't really want to be blunt and say that that's sin, but I don't know. It'd have to fall in one category or the other, and if it's something that you shouldn't do, then
Yeah, you know.
how about that? So did I answer it without saying? So, let's go on down here to a key point. It says, even though a person doesn't mean to sin, it still harms their relationships with God, with others. So needed to be acknowledged and made right. And that's what we're talking about here in step 8. We're trying to acknowledge what we've done wrong. Maybe we've tried to ignore it, deny it, suppress it, repress it, forget it because it bothers you. Well, there's a reason why it's bothering you. So the only way to really clean it up is to address it, deal with it. Does that make sense? And step 8 right here tells us how to get prepared, and then step 9 is going to be talking about how to approach it, and we'll be talking about that next month, and that will be making the amends. Okay, does that make sense? Yes. So how does unintentional sin? How does unintentional sin connect with step 8? Well, I basically kind of already said there, because step 8, we're making a list. We're preparing. We're working on it. We're actually trying to get ourselves to recognize what we've done that we need to clean up. We're not ready. We're not cleaning it up now. We're just preparing a list to get ready. Does that make sense? Yes.
I think part of it too is as we progress through going through the steps, we become more aware of what we've done.
Yes.
And maybe before we didn't even realize that we had hurt someone unintentionally, but now we do. So let's don't ignore it. Let's try to get that cleaned up.
Can I throw a story in here? I just thought of it. Can I throw a story in here?
Yeah.
How many in favor of my story?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we got enough. Because the story goes right with what you're talking about, and this was back in the 70s. It's probably middle 74, 75. I was here working at the church, and we were doing some construction, and kind of at that time. Now I know this is going to sound, hopefully, uncouth, but at that time, kind of to kid people, and oftentimes it would be a female, you would harass them about being fat. Does anybody remember those days?
Yeah.
And I did some of that, I'm sure, but I saw the pastor do that with a lady, and he was just playing, he was just kidding around, but I saw that how it hurt her, and she didn't overreact, okay, but I saw it, and I thought, how did we get to this place that we do that type of stuff? And the only reason why it was done is because everybody was doing it. So it was kind of an accepted behavior. But just because it's accepted behavior doesn't make it right. Does that make sense? And so, when I noticed that, I started working on a change, changing me. Now, I didn't correct anybody else, okay? Because I got a log in my own eye, right? And so anyway, that was my story. What do you think of my story? Huh? All right? Harsh? I know, but that's where we were, and we're not there nowadays. So let's see. All right, step 8. We got 4 things here. Recognize the harm. Now, my story goes right in there. I recognize the harm that I didn't ever recognize before, right? And so we need to recognize the harm, and and even though we didn't mean it, it still was harmful. And we just need to be careful. It's kind of like the medical creed is do no harm, right? So a biblical parallel, and that is out of Leviticus 4, shows that unintentional sin, still, we need to acknowledge it and atone for it. Atonement is covering. okay? And specifically a blood covering, and that atones or make right the wrong, the sin, and that's what Jesus did for us. That's what animal sacrifice was about, was postponing the sin, but where Jesus eliminated the sin in his atonement. And step 8 does the same thing. It invites us to bring all the harm into our awareness, whether intentional or unintentional, and then bring it into the light so that there can be healing and happiness, right? And you want to be happy? It's easy. All you have to do is change.
Change what?
Yeah, that's easy.
Just a little sarcasm. Do what?
Change what?
With me, it's almost everything.
I will. We're glad you're here, Will. You're hiding behind Robert. So, all right. Number 3. Why it matters in recovery specifically, and that's acknowledging our unintentional harm that we've done. We're not using sin here, we're using harm. And we've done harm, right? Whether we realize it or not, whether it was intentional or unintentional. And so we need to acknowledge the harm that we've done, and because that harm, according to what I've got down here on the information sheet, can still poison your relationship with others, your relationship with yourself. And it can weigh down your conscience. Is that not the truth?
Yep.
And so we need to do things to help bring peace and joy and forgiveness and take those weights off, right? And step 8 helps us to get prepared to do that. Step 9, I know it kind of stretches it out, but it's still a process, and that's really important. Number 4, a spiritual attitude. Okay, step 8 mirrors Psalm 19:12 through 13, and I would recommend that you read that. And there is a paraphrased version of that scripture on the sheet here, and this is King David, and this is out of the NIV translation. It says, "Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sin." I think that's a good prayer, and King David prayed that. And some of the other translations makes reference that we don't even recognize all of our error. We don't even recognize it all. And that again goes right to that unintentional sin. The NIV, I think even the King James, New King James, New English translation, I think all say that. And we ask God to show us not only what we've done on purpose, because we've done some things on purpose, you don't have to say amen to that, but also what we've done without realizing, so that we can make it right. Yes?
Amen.
Would you agree with that?
Yep.
That lightens our load, clears our conscience, and puts us in a better relationship with ourselves, with others, and with God. And that's what we need, to have freedom. And that's what we want. I want you to have freedom. I want you to have peace. I want you to be able to live with joy. And I think that's recovery, spiritual recovery. Questions? Comments? Thoughts? Anything you want to add to this? Anything on this sheet that I didn't cover that jumped out at you that you would like to talk about? Okay. Then we'll go ahead and get started with Willie. Oh, we're going to do the step? Reading the step? Oh, he hadn't moved, so. Okay, come on up here, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. Come on, Tommy. You're going to need to. Everybody give Tommy a big hand. He wasn't supposed to be here. Now he's here. And we're so glad he's here.
everybody.
Hello.
12 steps. We admitted that we were powerless over our problems and that our lives have become unmanageable. 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. We made a decision to turn our wills and our lives over to the care of God. 4. We made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. We admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We were entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. 7. We humbly asked God to remove our shortcomings. 8. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. We made direct amends to such people whenever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. We continued to take personal inventory and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry it out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice the principles in all our affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. Unintentional sin. Bible readings out of Leviticus 4, 1 through 28. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. As we have allowed our lives to get out of control, we have probably hurt people without even realizing it.
Okay, so, do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Yes,
Yes, why?
I agree with that, because nobody's perfect. Someone's going to get offended one way or another. So most people have offended somebody once or twice.
Okay, so on my notes here, I've got, and what about the statement that as we have allowed our life to get out of control, that was the first part of that
Right.
statement, right? And it says, so what does that mean?
When we're in our addiction, we don't really look to see where we're going, and we just go with the flow, and a lot of that can put us in places we don't need to be, places we don't want to be, and we don't care how to get out of it, what it takes.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? Yes, Robert.
Sometimes we get so involved with what we're focused on that we may do things that really hurt other people without even realizing it, because we have blinders. We're only looking at what we have in mind. And that's why later on, when we're trying to recover, when we're making a list of people that we've harmed, those things might come back to our mind, and times that we were going through life with blinders on and did things that really caused some harm to other people without realizing it and without doing it on purpose.
You know, neuroscience tells us that we only see what we choose to see. There's a lot that we don't see that's in our range of vision, but because we don't focus on it, or that it doesn't capture our attention, we don't see it. In fact, they even said that when the ships came to the United States, to the southern United States, that the natives, the Indians, and I believe it was probably either Mexico or South America, that the natives didn't even see the ships that they came on, but they did see the boats when they got closer to the shore. But they didn't have since they didn't have an idea that there could be anything out there, they didn't see it. Is the idea. They had no. But later on, they finally figured out that and then when someone saw it. Have you ever heard the scenario of the 99 and 1, the 100th monkey? There was island over in Japan area. There was multiple islands over there, and there were monkeys starving, and so they took sweet potatoes over and dumped them on the beach. Has anybody ever heard this study? And I know I find interesting stuff, at least interesting to me. And so they dumped these sweet potatoes there, and because they didn't know what sweet potatoes, I'm talking about the monkeys, they didn't know what they were, so they didn't try to eat them. So somehow, one monkey figured out how to do it by washing the sand off and then ate it. And then as soon as he ate it, then it multiplied on this island. And somehow, some way, after the monkeys on that island knew how to eat that sweet potatoes, all the other islands that had monkeys, they knew it too. Because of that that connection.
Even though they didn't see them?
They didn't see it. There was no way for it to travel materially.
Yeah.
Okay? So it was, we could talk about it as being like a do what?
Wireless cell phone.
Yeah, wireless cell phone or
Ecosphere.
yes, that would be in neuroscience. In physics, in quantum physics. That's what I'm looking for. Quantum physics of entanglement, which entanglement means that everything everything is connected.
4 monkeys can swim.
Excuse me? Well, they, who knows? But they indicated that there was no transference of physical information. That's what they said then. And this is an old report because this happened, I think, in Second World War, time. So, all right, just a random story. Sorry. Go ahead.
In fact, much of the pain we have caused has most likely been unintentional.
Go ahead.
Nevertheless, we still need to take responsibility for our actions and make amends.
Do you agree with those statements?
Yes,
Why?
you need to be accountable for all your actions and not just the one you want to be. Yes, I'm the biggest duck in the puddle on that one.
You want to expound on that?
Not really? I'll let someone else. This hits close to home here, really does.
Duck in the puddle.
Yes.
I like that.
Any comments from anybody? Do we understand what he? I think you may be the only one that caught the concept here, and they, so they may need some help.
Okay, let me see how I can redo this again here. Give me a minute because I got to rethink here.
May I ask you to repeat it for me?
In fact, much of the pain we have caused has most likely been unintentional. Nevertheless, we still need to take responsibilities for our actions by making amends. Okay, I do a lot of stuff and I do it in a hurry. I try to get in, get done, get out, and go on. A lot of times that puts me in positions to where a little bit of stuff here messes up, and I say, okay, I'll get it later. Which, me getting it later could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. But in the meantime, the people that's living with that mess up, they have to live with what I messed up. Not that I intended for them to deal with it, but they have to till I get back to fix it. How's that?
Wow.
I get it.
That puts me the biggest duck in the puddle.
All right, anytime you're ready.
All right. When God gave the commandment, He included instructions for handling mistakes as well as intentional sins. He said in Leviticus 4:2 and 27:28, give the following instructions to the people of Israel. This is how you are to deal with those who sin unintentionally by doing anything that violates one of the Lord's commandments. If any of the common people sin,
Hold right there. We need to talk about,
Okay.
I looked up that word common, and just to help us grasp it, and I've got it here according to, I looked it up in the concordance and in the Greek, actually it would be in the Hebrew, and it's ordinary people, or the community, okay, just the community. We're not, they're talking about being separate from the priest, at least that was my understanding, and anyone of the person of the land, because not only do you have Israelites, but you also can have foreign people on the land, and I think it was in Leviticus, in some of the scriptures that we're not reading here tonight, but part of that passage from 2 to 28 talked about that if there's foreigners in the land and you have offering of for sin for the community or the group, they are also forgiven also, even though they're foreigners in the land. I thought that would be interesting to know. So
Maybe we should apply that in our own lives today.
I think it'd be great. You want to expound on that? What does that mean?
I think, well, no, I don't want to get started on the politics, okay? I think we're being a little hard on the immigrants, personally, but
Okay.
that's it. That's all I'll say.
All right. Thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
I disagree with that 110%. I think we need to be harder on them.
Point, counterpoint.
Go ahead, Willie. Get me out of this spot.
I'm gonna start back over at the beginning of that sentence. If any of the common people sin by violating one of the Lord's commandments, but they do not realize it, they are still guilty. When they become aware of their sins, they must bring an offering for their sins, a female goat with no defects.
Any comments on that scripture?
Pretty self-explanatory there. If you sin, you gotta pay for it,
We're good.
one way or another.
Okay. Good. And go ahead to Numbers.
Numbers 15, 22 to 25 says, but suppose you unintentionally fail to carry out all these commands and the Lord has given you. If the mistake was made unintentionally and the community was unaware of it, the whole community must present a young bull for a burnt offering, and they will be forgiven. For it was an unintentional sin, and they have corrected it with their offering to the Lord.
So, why are we doing this? Let me go ahead and why is it important that, And then my next question, I had a series of questions here. I just go ahead and ask them all at once.
Uh,
And is it all about you? You know, what we're talking about here. And of course, it's not. Maybe the community around us is important too, which what we do affects everybody, right?
Okay.
In a positive way or in a negative way, because we're all affected. Now, closer you are to the incident, you may be affected more, but everybody's affected no matter how far you're away from the incident or the error, the mistake, the sin, or injustice, or whatever. So, so did you have any comments on that?
No, not really. I was gonna say similar to what you were saying, but you done
Okay, well,
explained
I'm
it.
sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
sorry.
Let's move on.
I needed to let you talk. So, okay, go ahead.
We are responsible for the way our behavior has affected others.
Wait. Read that one again, please.
We are responsible,
Wait a minute. What was that?
responsible,
We are.
responsible,
We are.
responsible,
We are.
responsible.
Are you?
Responsible? Yes.
We should be.
Well, whether we should or shouldn't be,
We're working on it.
we are. Right? We have some responsibility. Now, we're not totally responsible for everything, but we're responsible for what we do and how it affects others, right? Because what we do does affect others. Is that true? Okay, start at the beginning there.
We are responsible for the way our behavior has affected others. This is true even when we don't realize we were hurting them.
Do you agree with those statements?
Yes,
Why?
because now I know.
What does that mean?
Well, if I didn't know that my words were hurting them, it didn't bother me.
Yes.
Because I don't know, and but then once it's brought up to you, then okay, it bothers. That's when the guilt sets in.
Okay.
So,
Any comments from anyone? Yes, Tommy.
I was just thinking of how we have to learn to be aware of how we act and the things we do and the way we carry ourselves so we don't stumble on this unintentional sin.
That's good. That's good. You used a good word, aware.
Aware, yeah.
Another word would be we need to observe ourselves,
Yes.
which would be the same thing as aware,
Awareness, yeah.
right? Can we observe ourselves? Can you back up from yourself and observe yourself?
We can always have an out-of-body experience.
Do you like all of your behaviors? I didn't get much of a reaction there. So can you see your bad behaviors?
Yes.
That you're observing yourself. Okay? So you've backed up enough to see your behaviors, right? Do you like the way you feel or your emotions or your emotional reactions?
When I'm angry, no. When I'm, happy, it's better.
But you can see them. You can observe them.
Mhm.
Okay? That's good, right? Because a while ago you didn't think you could. And now we found out you have been. Now, how about this? We'll go one more notch. What about your thoughts? Can you observe your thoughts? Yes, yes. When you choose to, right? And you can back up and create space between your thoughts and you, correct? Okay? Well, so can you observe your thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, and who's doing the observing?
Me.
Who?
Me.
You? And who are you?
I'm myself.
And what is that?
A being.
And what is that?
Child of God.
Okay, and what is that?
Creation.
Okay. Anybody want to help him?
No, I'm not stepping.
All those were good. Those are all okay statements, but there's one more. There's at least one more. And who is doing the observing? And it's you that's doing the observing. And
I am.
I am, and who is I am?
God.
Yeah, that is true. And what is he?
Creator.
He's creator, but he's a spirit.
Yeah.
And who's doing the observing here?
Spirit.
You're doing that, and it's your
Spirit.
spirit. And when you back up and look from the spirit, you're looking from the place that you know the truth. Right? Have you ever done that? Because you know the truth when you get to that place. Now, if you hang around in that, in just in your physical thoughts or your physical feelings or your physical behaviors, you know, they can kind of take over because it wants to do what it wants to do. Anybody know what I'm talking about? And that's what we call addictions, right? But when you back up from that physical part of ourselves into our spirit being and observe ourselves, that can give us a real extra dimension on helping us to recognize and then begin to change what's going on. What do you think about that? Any questions? You're afraid to ask?
We're talking about like observing our thoughts, like if we write them down, we can observe them.
That's one way.
Imagining.
That's another. Sometimes writing down your thoughts is moving your thoughts from an abstract form, because sometimes they're just spinning around our heads. But if we write them down, then we move them from abstract to more concrete because it's written down. And something about putting it in black and white helps them seem more real because they're more physical. Do you know what I'm talking about? And journaling is a form of self-counseling, writing them down. And if you write down thoughts, because you have layers of thoughts going on in there. And if you can get underneath the top layers of thought that's spinning around and get down to a deeper thought, you're getting down to really some of the things that what runs you deeply, your deeper beliefs, deeper thoughts. That's the deeper you. And I've worked with people that when I get them to go a little deeper past those surface thoughts, sometimes it even scares them a little bit. Somebody had their hand up. John?
This may be totally off of the subject, but is observing ourselves kind of like the double slit experiment?
Double slit experiment. That's a quantum physics experiment saying that a light photon is a particle or a wave.
Wow, Chris is being tested.
That's good. Thank you, Chris. It's either a particle or a wave, and this is going deeper here. So
Sorry.
So when you watch it, when you're not watching it, it's one way, and then when you watch it, it's a different way.
yeah, when you observe it, their terminology, not mine. When you observe, when you try to see which, there's two slits, and you shoot one light photon, and if you're not watching it, if you're not measuring it, then it goes through one of the slits and it reads out on the back of the wall. It sets up a pattern. And if you're measuring it or watching it or observing it, then it turns into a wave and it creates a interference pattern, like a wave in the water. And I believe this is God's system, and science is just now finding it out, because that's what the principle to me lines up with that's what faith is. When you put your focus on something, that you focus on changes. And that works in the negative or in the positive.
Could that be, is that similar to when you see a picture, like you're likely familiar with the skull versus the beautiful lady in the mirror? Is that
Well,
where you focus them? Like
this particular, that's interesting information there, and I've shown those things, and that's not what we're talking about here. That is being able.
Yeah, I'm not.
Do what?
I'm not familiar with what y'all are speaking of.
Right. Well, hey. You may not be able to do it right now, but anyway, you can look it up on the internet. It's all over the place. Double slit experiment.
Okay.
And there's even advanced multi-split experiments, even even talking about retroactive causation. And what in the world does that mean? Retroactive retroactive causation. That means that
Time travel.
yeah,
You said retro.
Retroactive causation.
Okay, that's good.
So and there's been research in that area. Some agree with that, some don't agree with that. But the fact of it is, God is outside of time, and because prayer can change things, even after the fact. We have a hard enough time accepting the fact that He can change it before the fact. So, but anyway, sorry, shouldn't have. Chris, did you do that to me? So
That was John, not
John.
Chris.
Okay.
I thought it was very interesting.
Okay. All right.
I'll have to.
Anyway, it's let's just put a period in and go on.
Sounds good. Unintentional sin needs to be acknowledged and corrected as soon as we discover them. God forgives all our sins. In the recovery process, however, the unintentional sins needs to be accounted for along with the glaring ones.
So, what do you think that means, Willie?
Sin's a sin whether you meant to do it or not. So you got to be forgiven from one, so you got to be forgiven from all of them. So whether you meant it or didn't know you done it, you still got to make it right in whatever way you can.
So what did you learn out of this lesson tonight?
I got a long way to go. Like I said,
Don't we all? Hello, don't we all?
pick this one because it's something that I need to work on. Like all of the ones I pick, it touches me, which if I need help with it, surely someone else needs to, and if they know what I'm going through, maybe it helps them.
Good. So what's your takeaway?
Keep moving forward. Try to do better on what let's put this in the right word before we do another one. Try to keep myself at a neutral balance to where I'm not having to wonder if I'm making them sins intentional or unintentional. I'm done.
And the rest of the story is, whether it's intentional or unintentional, God's forgiven them all if we ask Him for that forgiveness.
Today I am a lot better in asking God and apologizing at the end of the day for what I have done or what I might have done that I don't know I've done. And it seems to help that way.
And that's what we're talking about.
Right.
Get the help.
Thank you.
Thank you, Willie.
I don't know where she went.
Now Lori's going to come up and she's going to make sense of all the quantum physics and the double split experiment and.
No, I'm not.
That sounds like a gymnastics.
No, I'm not. Don't ask me any of that. I was totally
That
lost.
says everything I see sees me.
Ask me anything about blue.
Say what?
Sorry.
I think that's why Toby Mac says everything I see sees me.
Yeah.
I got the cartoons, the
You got-
quantum physics. No.
No.
No. No.
So we got some questions, right? And we got some reflection.
Yes.
All right.
And
Everybody strap in.
okay. In what areas have I unintentionally harmed others? Yes, I have. I have severely damaged friendships. I've lost friendships. I've lost trust in a lot of people. I've damaged my reputation. This one's gonna sound very haughty, probably. But I've lost my status in the church that I was previously at. And in doing so, that hurt people, a lot of people, including the pastor, who had to remove me from the position I held. And in doing so, the people I was over in that position, and sadly, I was the nursery and preschool director in that church. And my lifestyle and my actions at the time were not suitable for holding that position. So I could no longer hold that position. And so he had to talk to me, and I could no longer hold that position. And undoubtedly, that caused hurt to the people I was over, the Sunday school teachers that I was over, and the children that I was over every Sunday. And loved ones feared for me and my safety. But at that time, when all this happened, I didn't realize it. You know, I kind of, looking back now, I kind of, deep down, I knew, but it's like I didn't care, or I knew and I just disregarded it. Does that make sense?
Sure. Rationally come to some sort of rationalization to be able.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do that.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, you took that pretty deep right there. That's pretty big.
It was big. And this lesson, a year ago, this lesson was the first lesson that really hit me hard last year. That really struck me hard, that I sat through, because at this point, 1 year ago, I had just started coming, not very long when I sat through this, and it hurt me. And this is probably getting into my takeaway and what I learned, but a year ago when I sat through this and I got to thinking, and the list just grew, and I realized all of a sudden, all of the people I had hurt that I didn't mean to, but I didn't know that I had hurt them until this lesson.
So, could I ask a question?
Please do. I like your questions. I like to see your reaction when I answer.
Well, the question that came to my mind, you're talking about this, and you're being so honest and open. That's really amazing. And,
That's all I know how to be.
well, so the question is, even though you said you didn't know, could you have been feeling the weight of that even though you didn't know?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, because I did know. I just chose.
But even what we're talking, my question it goes to, even though you said you didn't know, but unconsciously at some level you knew, but you were carrying that weight around, and if anybody would ask you, you would probably say, I don't know why, right?
Right.
But you're still carrying it. How? And the point of this lesson here is we're affected,
Yes.
and others are affected.
Yes.
Whether
I knew I was wrong, but I thought I was just hurting me.
right.
And maybe I thought I was doing right, because I was justifying everything I was doing. And I thought any harm I was doing was just hurting me. I didn't realize that I was hurting others.
Do you get my question that we when we do that, when stuff like that happens, we're loaded. We carry that load. Bessel van der Kolk, an author, wrote a book that the body keeps a score, and he says our body keeps score of the issues and traumas that happen in our life, which we're talking about pains, issues, effects not only in our body but also mentally and emotionally. Would you accept that premise? And you lived it, so and we all have to one degree or another. And so I kind of wanted to draw that out if hopefully that was okay.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Continue.
Number 2.
No, we're not done with that
Oh,
question.
okay.
We have you just skipped right into your deal, but we got here. We got how you've unintentionally harmed others with your words, with your moods, with your self-pity. I thought that was an interesting one.
Yes.
I just was pausing there for a second. Depression. Your depression can harm others.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Would you like me to inform you of that?
Yeah, I'd really like to know that.
Okay. I've got so many different parts of my story, of my life. My sister died September 21st. We're coming up on 14 years. Will be 14 years this year. After she died, I went into a horrible depression. And I remember explaining it to someone. Like I was standing behind a 3-inch glass wall, stuck in like a glass brick room, a glass room, 3 inches deep, that I couldn't get out of. Just there. They could see me, but I was all alone. I couldn't get out. No one could get in. And life just went on. And here I was just stuck. And so 14 years ago, and let's see, my son is 19, so he was what, 5? And Grace is 23, so she was what, 7? And that lasted a good year? Those were valuable times in my kid's life. And they remembered that I was useless. I couldn't do anything. You know, I went through the motions of life, but I was nothing. And it affected them. It affected my mom. I was supposed to take care of her. I was supposed to be her caregiver. I couldn't give her the care she needed. I was just empty. At that time, I was the teen leader at the church I was going to. I've held a lot of positions. And one of the teens said to me, when my sister died, everything went gray. The world lost its color for me. And it took a full year for me to start seeing color again. I mean, I'm serious. I lost the ability to see color for at least a full year. And after about a year, I remember one of the teens looking at me and saying, "Miss Lori, you look happy today." And I looked at him and I said, "Yeah, I am happy today." But it took a full year for that. It affected them. It affected those teenagers that I was working with too. I didn't know it at that time. It took everything I had just to survive.
Can any of you relate to this this scenario? You know, you may have had other things. You may have just fogged your life up with substances or behaviors. You know what I'm talking about? You put yourself in the fog. She put herself in a glass box, yeah. Well,
I mean,
So-
not physically, but that's how it felt to me.
okay, and let me ask the last question first.
Yes.
Is that all right? So how did you make the change there? How did that happen that day? That teenager said that you seem happy.
I don't know what the change was. Well, I do know it had to have been God.
Okay.
Time, God, Of course it had
That's-
to be God.
that's not- Well, I mean, yes, it was
mean-
God, but you
The
know.
Holy
So
Spirit.
did God,
just-
so then are you saying that God put you in that box?
No,
Okay,
no, that was never his will.
okay, all right.
Because
So
when
who put you in the
I
box?
put me
Oh,
in
you put yourself in the box, and what was the reason?
self-pity?
Could
It
be.
had to have been self-pity.
I don't know.
I mean, because the whole time that she was in the process of dying, because it was a process, it was a terrible process. I kept saying, I will praise God in life or in death, whether she lives or dies. And we knew she was going to die. The doctors gave her a 30% chance of living.
And who was saying this?
The doctors.
Oh, no, I said who, I will praise
Me.
God. Okay.
Me.
Okay,
I said, I will praise God whether she lives or dies.
okay.
But when she did die, I praised God because she was no longer in pain.
Right.
And when she died, it was a beautiful experience. Absolutely beautiful. And so it just didn't make sense to me that when she did, everything, I lost the ability to see color. It didn't make sense to me because I did praise God in that. But I still went through that time.
Mhm. Anybody have comments about your journey through a similar time? You don't have to. Is there
I've shocked
anybody?
them all into silence.
Is there anybody that hasn't had a similar situation in some way? I don't see any hands, so I guess we've all had some, right? That's fine. I said that I admired your willingness to be open and honest here. So God helped you get out of the box, but you put yourself in the box,
Yes.
and so then there was a reason why
Mhm.
that you put yourself there.
Mhm.
What do you think that reason would be?
It had to have been self-pity.
And what does that mean, self-pity?
I was feeling sorry for myself.
Okay, so it's a form of punishment then.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, I was sad. I was
So you-
grieving.
Yes, you were grieving,
I-
but you did. You turned it into chronic.
Yes.
Okay, because you said. I'm just from gathering what you said. Turning color off is a form of punishment.
Yeah.
Right? Punish yourself. You don't deserve that, so I'm going to make myself lose it. I'm going to distance myself from everybody and be.
I still haven't fully processed and gone through and examined everything yet.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, that makes.
Then I'll shut up.
No, please, because I need to know.
Huh?
I need to know because it still doesn't make sense.
But I would be interested in knowing the event that helped you to turn those things back on, or let's use spiritual terminology, where you allowed the Holy Spirit to go ahead and heal that aspect.
I can't pinpoint what it was that day.
A lot of times with people, it's finally, I've suffered enough, and I need to go on. Maybe you thought, I need to get back. I need to take this off myself so that I can be with my kids, help my kids. What, I don't know, but
Yeah,
anyway.
I mean, it wasn't the end of the depression, but that's when I started to move forward with my life.
And why I kind of pushing down here a little bit, not only for you, but there are a lot of people out there that are stuck in this state of depression,
Oh
what we
yeah,
call a chronic depression.
yeah,
And and they feel hopeless.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yes.
so, but there is a way out. But my bottom line here that I want to say is, we put ourselves there,
Yes.
and God's not going to make us or force us or override our will,
No.
but He will help us.
Yes.
So we put ourselves there. We put ourselves in jail, which is a term that I've always used.
Mhm.
We put ourselves in jail. We're the jailer. We're being jailed,
Mhm.
but we can also let ourselves out when we
Yes.
choose to.
Yes. But it takes work.
It takes work.
You just can't sit there. You have to.
It takes that intention.
It takes intention, and it takes work.
Forgiving yourself. Stop judging yourself.
Determination. Just sick and tired of feeling that way.
And judging yourself because I'm alive and they're not alive.
Yes.
it's-
Yes. And I was times of anger. Because I was here, and all the stuff I now had to do on my own.
Because it's not fair.
Right.
Because it's not fair.
It's not.
But
She
fact-
left me with 2 ailing, sick parents that I had to deal with on my own now. And that was never the purpose. That wasn't supposed to be like that. I was supposed to have my sister next to me helping me. And because of her death, I could no longer see my 2 nephews. They were removed from me. My mom could no longer see her 2 grandsons. It was a bad deal. And it happened.
Yes. So can you see how this story relates to maybe your dynamic? Yes, Robert?
I think we all have to reach a point where we're at our lowest before we can really change the terrain. And
Why is that, Robert?
I don't know, but it took me a long time. I think we almost get comfortable in our stupidity, thinking that, well, I'm too far gone now, why even bother trying to change? I've had those thoughts. But when I got to the point where I was homeless and, just kind of coasting through life without really any direction, I thought, man, I know that life is better than this. I've had life that's better than this. So it changed what I was thinking inside. And then when I got around people in recovery who helped me see that it's not hopeless, that's what I think is key. We've got to surround ourselves with people who are positive and will kind of help us get out of that
Absolutely.
self-pity.
And not fake positive.
Right.
And what?
Not fake
Not
positive.
fake, yes.
People that are willing to speak truth and life, but truth even if the truth hurts.
Right.
In some circles, they call that toxic positivity.
Mhm.
So anyway, it just, I think if we continually think that we can do it by ourselves, it's gonna take us longer and longer and longer and longer
Yes.
to get to that point where we're gonna start making progress.
I think you ought to say that again.
If we continually think that we can do it on our own, just our own willpower, I don't need anybody else to help me. I'm gonna beat this by myself. I'm gonna show the world. Then it's gonna take longer and longer and longer before we really make the turn and make progress.
It's good.
And that was me. It was on me to do it on my own, or I felt it was, and a lot of it was. I had no support system in it. I had to be the support system for everybody. I did not have a support system, which made it harder. I was everybody's support system. I did not have a support system but God. And a lot of times, I did not access that support system.
And there's a lot of reasons why we'll do that. Yes.
And the thought I often have is, no one knows me better than me, and so I, know what needs to be done.
And is that the truth?
No, well, I'm gonna take that back. There could be some truth to.
Could be
I know
some.
what's best,
Yeah. But
it's, am I changing,
yeah. Yeah.
because I often, there's been times where I've done things that I know I shouldn't do, but I still do it.
Well, so you remind me of a question. So who do we lie to the most?
Ourselves.
Most definitely.
Mhm. And then when you no longer recognize who you are, how can you trust yourself when you no longer recognize who you are because of that depression?
And see, Apostle Paul lived through this. When he went to Asia, he thought he was going to die. Some even say that he possibly even thought about suicide because it was so overwhelming. He was overwhelmed. Apostle Paul was overwhelmed. Thought he was going to die. There was no way out.
He was a human.
Yes, he was. And he finally come to the place, his intellect wasn't able to do it. His power, his position, his education, in what his training, all that wasn't enough. So he turned to God in a way that he didn't even realize that he hadn't done. And I've been there, okay?
Mhm.
And that's where he said he learned to totally rely on God.
Mhm.
And when he did that, things changed
Yes.
instantly.
Mhm.
And even in a few chapters later, he was in a similar situation. And there he said, I can be knocked down, but I'm not out. Okay? I can be oppressed, but I'm okay. And that's because he was living from a different position. Like you were talking about there.
Yes. Yes.
And that really makes a difference because God can see corners that we can't see, and he can even see around those corners that we don't even know they're there yet. Isn't that true?
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead. Question number two. Boy, that was a lengthy one. Boy, you're long-winded.
I know it. You should know that. In what ways have I acted thoughtlessly without regard to others' needs or feelings? When and to whom? Well, when, that's just to whom? Family and friends. Okay. In what ways have I acted thoughtlessly without regard for others? Out of selflessness and shame, I developed a total disregard for logic, even though I knew deep inside me that I was hurting others and myself. It didn't seem to matter. I put myself and my survival first. No matter the hurt and fear I knew I was causing, I kept on my path of self-destruction and denial.
Wow.
One that I can think of the best, and was a very dear friend. I lost that friendship. but it had nothing to do with my actions. It was forced upon me because that friendship was not approved of by someone in my life. And so that person was forced out of my life. But that person was so very important to me. She became like a sister to me. But because this other person in my life did not approve of her, and ultimately the reason why was because we were so close. They wanted to remove, abusers. They tried to separate you from those closest to you to isolate you. And he did a good job of that. And she was the one person I was closest to outside of family. And that was the first person he got rid of in my life. And that was the first one I thought about last year when I heard this lesson. And that hurt because I miss that friendship. I still miss that friendship. And I sat there when we did this lesson, and I knew I had to address this. And I turned it over to God, and I said, God, I'm gonna take care of this when I'm able to. And it was just this past, earlier in the summer, late spring, early summer, that I had the opportunity to do that. And so it took quite a while to get that opportunity. We were at a funeral together. And I went up to her and I apologized. And tears filled her eyes and she shook her head. She said, you don't need to apologize. You did nothing. I said, no, I do. It was wrong. And tears flowed from her eyes at my willingness to make amends and apologize. She didn't expect it because in her eyes I'd done nothing wrong. We're still friends, but our relationship is no more. I mean, we never communicate. And we probably never will. But I did what was right. And that helped.
It lessened the way.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So, what did you learn from this lesson this time?
That I'm doing good. That I'm where I need to be. And I need to keep on. That I'm starting to figure it out slowly. That this time there were more people God revealed to me that I need to talk to. And that in time, when God sets them before me, I will. And I'm not scared of it.
Awesome. Great. It's good. So what's your takeaway from this lesson?
It feels good to be growing.
Awesome. You did. You did. Anybody want to share what they got from this lesson tonight? Or your takeaway?
Be aware. Stay aware. Stay aware.
Stay aware. Good.
That's a good one.
Keep the blinders off.
Take the blinders off. It's good. Good.
Deal with suffering and take control.
That's good, John.
You gotta do that.
It's good. Thank you, Lori. Thanks, everybody, for your participation tonight. I hope it was interesting to you. You seemed real quiet, and I wonder.
They were very quiet.
I'm paying close attention.
So, any final comments? Anything else, Willie?
No, I'm good. Now,
Oh, by the way, you know, and most of you know this, but maybe you out in internet land, you don't know this, that I don't pick the topics. They're in the book, and there's, you know, between 6 and 8 on each step. And each person that does the teaching part of the step picks the topic. And so there are, you know, so they pick the topic that they choose, and it's usually because it's stuff that they need to deal with. Isn't that right?
yes.
Is that right, Tommy?
Yes. Oh, I was under mumble and I hope so.
Is that right, Robert?
Unfortunately, yes.
If you couldn't hear it, you said unfortunately yes. So, but
just get stuck with what Willie chooses.
yeah. If you just do the reflection questions, you know, you just get stuck. But you know, we all of us got stuff in every topic, and so anyway, I thought of that today. I always tell people, you know, I don't pick them. You know, I'm not. You know, we have them in the books, and some topics we haven't hit. You know, in that year, but or for years, but all of them are good, right? So, all right. May the Lord bless you and keep you, and may His face shine upon you and give you His peace, and of course, may